Hi and welcome to a new video. Today I want to show you one stretch to release the piriformis. When I was diagnosed with piriformis syndrome, I would spend the majority of the day just stretching and doing all kinds of piriformis stretching exercises. I did them on the floor, I did them sitting, I did them standing, and when I'm done work I get home and again I have to do at least 3 or 4 stretches before I go to bed, and they were really aggressive static stretches. These are stretches where you would hold the stretch for more than 2 minutes, and while it felt good, I would only get temporary relief or it would make the pain worse. And I really wasn't sure why, because I would go to physiotherapy, they would give me a few stretches to do at home, so I did the stretches, but they really didn't fix anything. And I unfortunately repeated that for years, looking for that temporary relief, which stretches did provide, but I was never really fixing the root cause of the pain, which is to look for the underlying muscular imbalances that were causing and contributing to my daily pain. So before I show you how to do this standing stretch, I want to first make sure that you do need to stretch the piriformis, because just because you feel tightness in the piriformis does not mean that the muscle needs to be stretched. And this is something extremely important. So just because it feels tight or it may feel like it's spasming, it doesn't mean that it needs to be stretched. So because it's just a feeling, it's not a fact. It does not mean that the muscle is actually overactive. Another thing I want you to understand is that stretching will not release trigger points. So if indeed the muscle is overactive and it's tight, then you should first try to release it with a massage ball or just applying direct pressure that you can control. So I don't like to sit on the foam roller or the ball, because I feel like you're putting too much load on the muscle and sometimes you can't really control the pressure. So you want to always place direct pressure that you can control. Simply place the massage ball against the wall and you can release the muscle that way. I already made a short tutorial how to do that, so I'm gonna put it here.
So this is the technique that has been working for me for years to probably release the piriformis without making it worse. So what I want you to do is, of course, grab the massage ball, and I want you to go against the wall, and you want to place the massage ball behind your glutes. So first I want to mention, try not to put direct pressure on the piriformis muscle. Of course, make sure you get familiar with just the anatomy of the muscle and where it's located. So I want you to instead release the areas outside of the piriformis. So press on the gluteus medius, the gluteus maximus, maybe try to get to the TFL a little bit, some of the QL muscle. I will link another blog post I have about the QL muscle as well. Work the areas around the piriformis and avoid direct pressure on the muscle. This has worked for me best because one times when I actually had a lot of spasms on the piriformis and trying to put direct pressure on the muscle, it just made it worse and it made the muscle spasm even more. So I have been avoiding that, and actually this has worked for me really well. And this is another reason to actually use the massage ball versus the foam roller, because you have to sit on the foam roller, so you can't really adjust or control the pressure as well as the massage ball. So if you do find that the foam roller kind of makes the pain worse, switch to the massage ball and see how that changes things. If you don't have a massage ball, you could also use a tennis ball for this release.
To find out if the muscle needs to be released or not, a very good test is simply just a squat test. First of all, you want to notice how your feet are when you are standing, your default posture. If you start to notice that your feet, or one foot, maybe sometimes not both, tends to externally rotate, that could be an indication that the muscle is tight and overactive. It's pulling the leg outward. It would be one data point. So usually I like to gather as many data points as possible and as much information as possible. Usually your body will tell you and give you that information. So the very first test is when you're standing in your default posture, not trying to fix your posture, just stand naturally as you normally would. Start to notice when you are standing like at a grocery store or at home or whatever, look down and see which direction your feet are. Sometimes you will notice that one foot will tend to externally rotate. The next test would be a simple squatting test. And so what you want to start with is you have your feet shoulder width apart. You can place your hands on your hips and then just start to squat down, and notice if both of your feet or one foot externally rotate. So this is what it would look like. Something like this. So your feet will have a tendency to externally rotate. If on the other hand the opposite happens, your knees are coming in, this is an indication that the piriformis actually needs to be strengthened and activated, because it is not externally rotating the leg, so it's not doing its job. So if this happens, then you probably don't want to be spending a lot of time releasing and stretching the piriformis. So if you notice that there's a tendency for your leg to always externally rotate, so I would highly recommend that first you start with the release technique, and then you can do some stretches. Just stick to very gentle stretches when it comes to the piriformis. We don't want to aggressively stretch the muscle. For example, if you're doing the pigeon pose, then switch into the 90-degree pose. All right, so I have a chair here. So you want to place your leg up the chair. So you're gonna feel a stretch here on your hamstrings, which is normal. So we want to go move the opposite way that the piriformis works. So the piriformis is an external hip rotator. We want to internally rotate the leg. This will give the piriformis a stretch. If you want to take it a step further, you are going to adduct the leg. So move it a little inwards. So try to keep your hips forward as much as possible. Try to avoid rotating, because if you're rotating, then you're just moving towards the direction of the leg. But we want to keep our chest straight, our back straight, no rotation, just moving the leg to that side. So internally rotating and adducting the leg. If you feel like you're feeling more of a stretch in your hamstrings, you can bend the knee. So instead of keeping it forward, which you may feel more of a stretch here, and it may feel like it's too much of a stretch, you can bend at the knee to kind of break the hamstring stretch, and then you just internally rotate your foot and keep your leg adducted here. And then you can stay here for a little bit and then switch legs. So what I really like about this stretch is it's very gentle, and you can do it anywhere, and it really gets the job done. Like if this doesn't do it, I don't see the need to go and do 5 more stretches. Especially that, as I said before, stretching shouldn't be used as a way to fix the pain or fix or release trigger points. It's just another tool that you add to help you achieve muscular balance. And stretching is really great for flexibility and joint mobility, but the goal of the stretching is not to get rid of the pain. The other stretch that I mentioned earlier, the pigeon pose, which releases the hips, but it's a very aggressive stretch. I really like the 90-degree stretch, so you get your legs at a 90-degree angle, and it's a very gentle stretch that releases the glutes, the piriformis, really opens up your hips, but it's really gentle. And as I always mention, the piriformis muscle is a very small, deep gluteal muscle, and it helps to stabilize and support the pelvis. So if it's flaring up and it's getting really overactive and it's spasming, that you always want to ask why. Don't get stuck into that isolation mindset where if you feel pain somewhere, that means there's something wrong with that area. It's either the pain is originating from somewhere else, or the muscle is compensating all the time because other muscles are not able to do the work properly. So it is your job to investigate the root cause of the pain. And also, a lot of times we're not conscious about the little things that we do every day that feed into the imbalances. For example, I see a lot of people when they exercise, they They're always compensating with the piriformis or other muscles, and sometimes just doing your exercises can feed into the imbalances, even though you're doing them thinking that they're going to help you. But if you're doing them wrong, that means that, you know, they're kind of just making things worse in a way. And stretching too, like you want to make sure that you're actually stretching. You want to make sure that the muscle that you are stretching needs to be stretched, and you're not just further weakening the muscle. You want to have some tone and maintain a little bit of tightness in certain areas, especially around the joints that require more stability. The glute muscles, for example, they tend to be very weak. We're sitting all the time. We don't activate and engage and strengthen the glutes as they should be and as they are designed to be. So it doesn't make sense to be just stretching the glutes all the time, but not actually working to strengthen them and restoring that strength and stability. So this is how I want you to start thinking when you're trying to fix the pain. Like always look for, so always see pain as a messenger telling you that there's an imbalance, something is not working right. And then you use that piece of information to investigate and find out why your body is not functioning as it should be. I hope this was helpful. If you are new here, don't forget to subscribe. And if you guys enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like and comment below. And thanks for watching. I will see you in the next video.